There is some incredible stuff going on. Is there bribery happening? Is there bribery happening at the state capitol? That's the question. Yesterday, while debating a bill about Axon and the rights of Arizona voters, about zoning and stuff like that. Anyway, State Representative Joseph Chaplik said this on the floor.
When we let them come here and talk to every one of these members, which I will admit, 3 or 4 of them have come to me and said they were essentially offered campaign funds if they vote yes for their next election by the company.
Wow.
Please step up and come forward if that's happened to you. I've never seen something so scandalous in my 5 years down here.
Wow. So joining me to talk about that is the man himself, State Representative Joseph Chaplik. So that actually happened. You're blowing the whistle on this. Any chance these people are going to step up? Did any more come forward to you as well?
You know, Garrett, it's a very sensitive issue, of course, down there because of this bill being pushed through quickly and having the employees of Axon, including their leadership team in the House of Representatives, literally for the last 40 days. They've been down there every day. And they've been talking to members every day, Democrats, Republicans, House and Senate. In fact, to a point where they would have their own security guard stand outside of the office of whichever leadership member was in with the rep speaking with them.
What?
Yes, I've seen it with my own eyes. So there's been a lot of confidential discussions going on in closed rooms at the Capitol.
All right,
with security standing outside the door.
So it's the meaning. So even other state reps or state senators couldn't get in there. They wanted to keep everybody else out.
Look, I've walked through the building. I know where the reps' offices are. We have offices throughout the building, and I've seen with my own eyes the Axon security guy standing outside a door while a member of Axon was in the individual's office speaking with them. Meaning they're blocking the door from anybody coming in.
Exactly.
Keeping a confidential conversation.
Wow. All right, let's back this up. Axon used to be Taser International. They make tasers and body cams. They've been in Arizona for a long time. Out of nowhere, they buy a bunch of land in Scottsdale. It's zoned for commercial. After they buy it, they convince the old city council in Scottsdale to rezone it to residential as well. Because when they were going to buy it and they were going to change the zoning, it would cost them an extra $150 million that would have gone straight to the schools here in Arizona. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Multifamily land is more valuable than light industrial.
There you go.
And so they did a bait and switch with city council, the lame duck session, as they all got voted out, and they stuck it to Scottsdale. The lame duck city council stuck it to Scottsdale because they all were one-term council members. And Axon got what they needed, which was multifamily land to build this massive apartment complex, which is the largest in state's history. Not just in Scottsdale's history, it'll be the largest complex in the state history built.
Okay.
And you look at these bills, and, they're all geared for them.
Well, let me back just in case people don't know. I want to be over their heads. So they basically, the city people of Scottsdale, 26,000 people signed a referendum and said, we want to vote on this. You're not getting this so fast. And then all of a sudden a bill came about. Axon got lawmaker to write a bill that says we're going to stop Arizona residents from being able to challenge any zoning rulings from any city council or town council in the entire state. And that happened to be a bit much. So then they redid the bill to basically carve it out just for Axon, right?
Right, we killed that bill. So absolutely right. They got their zoning changed. The city of Scottsdale residents rallied and signed 26,000 signatures of residents to put this to the ballot in November 2026. So the voice of Scottsdale could be voted on whether or not they wanted to have multifamily land rezoned so they can build 1,900 apartments. That is correct. So that occurred, a bill surfaced, and that's when I got involved because it came to the state level, which it should always be at the city. This should not be at the state level for this. They're bypassing the city to get state policy to help them benefit. And there were two bills. They were mirror bills, so they moved faster through the House and Senate, 1352 and 2925. And I will say we won. We killed those bills. You were correct. They had a definition of zoning that it's now an administrative act, and you cannot have a filing of a referendum signature petition by the city. And that would affect the whole state of Arizona. So it doesn't matter your city. If a company changed the zoning through city council and the residents didn't like it, they would not be able to now do a signature petition to have a vote on that, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing that they wanted. So those bills died, right? We killed those bills. There's a thing down at the Capitol that's called a striker. What you do is you take a bill that's already moving of some other germane subject, and you take that bill and you wipe it clean and you put new language on it, and then it picks up and goes through the process even faster. That's what this bill is. It's a striker, SB 1543.
And that was allowed by the Speaker, Montenegro, and now it's being allowed in the Senate by Warren Peterson. No, and honestly, the fact that you had 3 or 4 of your colleagues, your state reps, come up to you and say that Axon said they can help fund my reelection campaign if I vote for this bill.
It gets better than that.
What's that?
I have been confronted straight from the CEO and told immediately on the first interaction I had with him when he came up, accosted me in the building and said, I am going to end your political career for opposing my bill. Wow. That's what he said to me. I had to call security over because he was getting aggressive with me with his verbal attacks. Then he berated my core business that I do for a living. I am appalled at this. And then he gets the keys for 45 days to walk around the building and talk to every member without any apologies. I've never seen anything like this for 5 years I've been
Who
down.
allows them to do that? Is that the Speaker? That they can come on to they can go to the Capitol and just roam the halls like they own it? Who gives them permission to do that?
The Speaker of the House has full authority of the building. Yes,
Wow.
that is correct.
Wow. And just the fact that, and it is crazy they accosted you. It's like they want to end your political career. It's like them trying to buy political careers. The fact that the fact that they did that and you're a witness to this, I mean, shouldn't that trigger some kind of an investigation from the Attorney General?
You would think so. I mean, people are fearful from them because of their threats. They put me on Fox Business and smeared me on Fox Business Stuart Varney show. I mean, they'll go to great extent of spending tens of millions of dollars to get this bill through. And I think there's a lot of fear in members down there. I've had a couple of members tell me I'm not going to be the only no to vote for this in committee when it went through a committee very quickly. On both sides of the aisle, I had members say, I am not going to be the no. There's fear running through members down there.
Wow.
This is uncalled for.
And it's all weak leadership, man, or they're just in on it. I mean, to me, if you vote for this, I mean, you could almost make the assumption that Axon's going to be influencing their reelection campaign. Let's put it that way. That's what it looks like. This is dirty. Have you ever seen anything like? You haven't seen anything like this in 5 years, have you?
No, I haven't. And when we're talking about a controversial bill like this, it should really be slowed down.
Yeah.
We should have more public input. We should actually be more transparent, and we should actually honor some of these amendments that are common sense, trying to just hold them compliant to what they're saying they're going to do. If they're having 5,500 new paying jobs, and they have a campus of over 2,000 employees, and they want a campus with live work, you would think they would actually fill the whole building up with their employees, or at least 50%. Mm-hmm. But no, they want 20%, 380. When we say as a city, we'll allow you to build 380 apartments, no problem. This issue's over. They say, no, we don't want 380. We want 2,000. There's no negotiations. But again, this is not a state issue, because it only affects our city with this company. This should be a city issue. We should have pushed this bill back to them. We should have told Axon, go work with your city and work it out. This is not a statewide issue, and it's not a state legislative issue.
Yep.
And that's my stance, and I'm not going to negotiate with them at the state level and negotiate against my voters that are getting the election taken away from them, because they won't be able to vote in November 2026. And it gets worse. I have confirmation that the county recorder, Justin Heath, can put an election on in 50, 60 days. We can expedite this at a city vote level with the residents in 60 days. Axon says, no, I don't want that.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, what more do you need? And then the leadership, they should say, yep, go deal with this in the city. But Peterson and Montenegro are not doing that. And it could impact, again, the entire state. This could set a precedent. This is not good. So, question is there, like, why do they want to do this? Is there a need for apartments? Or is there a shortage of apartments and apartment living in Scottsdale for their employees?
No, their story makes no sense. The company story makes no sense. They want to have this campus where they have apartments and buildings and everybody lives on the same, campus. Well, when we ask them how many apartments do they need to have for their employees, they say 380. Yet they want to build 1,900. So that doesn't add up. When we ask them, are they going to be full-time employees, and are they going to essentially work on site, right? Let's not be remote. Let's work on site. They don't have that in the bill. When we ask if they're going to have all the other apartment units be 6-month leases or longer so we don't have short-term rentals in the neighborhood, they say no, it's not in the bill. We ask them to build the headquarters first, right? The building. Let's build the building headquarters. Let's make sure you build that. That's not in the bill. Let's make sure you're in full compliance of all this legislation every 5 years. That's not in the bill. So we don't know if they're going to actually be compliant once they get the policy changed to them. Then the last amendment we tried to get in there was, let's make sure you build the headquarters first, all the buildings you want, then the apartments. They have an exemption in there that basically says they can build the apartments first.
Wow.
None of this makes sense.
So are you getting the feeling that they just want to, because I hear all the rumors they're already going to move to Florida, all this other, they're going to move their headquarters to Florida, their business to Florida, that they just pretty much want to build an apartment and then sell it for a crazy amount of money?
That could be the assumption here, absolutely. When you look at the bill, Garrett, everyone talks about how this is economic strength for the state and this is a great development for all businesses. Well, it only exists in a city that has a population of 200 to 500,000. There is only 3 or 4 cities in the state that have that. Then it has to have an international headquartered company that has more than 2,000 employees in their business full time. There's not many companies in the state that meet this criteria. So it doesn't affect any other city in the state. It is very limited to this company only. And they say they're bringing in 5,500 jobs. Yet, all the jobs listed in the bill are administrative jobs, accounting jobs, lawyer jobs. There's no high-tech jobs. We have no idea if 5,500 jobs are coming. We have no idea that they're going to be high-paying. And if they're paying $200,000, $300,000, these folks don't need to live in an apartment on campus. They could live anywhere in Scottsdale in a nice neighborhood, in another condo, an apartment, or a small house. Like, they don't have to have an on-campus living site.
No. Well,
none of it makes sense.
Representative Chaplik, man, thank you for being brave enough to blow the whistle on this, and we're gonna watch what happens, and we'll see what happens next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Garrett.
You got it. State Representative Joseph Chaplik. There's more to this, too, by the way. And you can let me know what you think with a talkback on the iHeartRadio app. Search Garrett Lewis, tap the mic. I have more on this coming up. It is your afternoon addiction. 550 KFYI in Phoenix, KNST AM 790 in Tucson.